varied. So I can't say like I focus on just one, but I'm looking at the list that I played at 12s back on April 18 when they had me in store for the maps. I I was gonna go in I was gonna go in a different direction, and then like the night before I was like, no, 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 I think I want to do kind of more trip hop, like 90s. I would say like my comfort zone is 90s music because that's when I came to be a young adult, and I have still real affinity for that era, and I do think it's a pretty magical era for music of all genres. Um, and so I also, and then Bouillon, who's a DJ from the UK. I love the Beach Boys and I love Jay Dilla. And I discovered a few years ago that he had done like a digital version of this album where he combined both Beach Boys songs because Jay Dilla loved the Beach Boys, and so he would combine samples of Beach Boys music to Jay Dilla's sample, like sample music, music in the style of Jay Dilla, and then he made this incredible record. And so I wanted to play that. And then Mad Professor did an amazing remix of What's Going On by
I
Marvin Gaye.
heard that one and I was like, what the hell is this?
What
Yeah.
is this? I know. And this stuff is not on streaming too. It's on YouTube. People have like uploaded the music to YouTube, and so but it's not on Spotify, it's not on Apple Music because there's like a lot of copyright issues obviously with some of these samples, so you can't find this stuff. So I really was like, well, I love the Beach Boys and I also love Jay Dilla, so this is a great way to combine both loves. And I think Bouillon's record that came out, I want to say in the late 2000s,
And it
right
fits
after
so well with because I did feel like a trip hop set, but then you put in these things that were not, these classic trip hops, but it fit well. It was really eclectic.
Oh,
I have to
thanks.
say I
Yeah,
enjoyed it very much. And
thanks.
so, yeah, it was
Well, and
great.
then I also had gotten that Super Mario Brothers 3 soundtrack record, and I had not played that publicly, and I was like, I got to play this publicly. And so then I segued the sort of trip hop into the vaporwave stuff that I played,
Yeah,
and then
Jesus, you just
and
went
then
all
I
over the place.
thought, and then I
Oh,
thought,
I loved
well,
it.
but then I thought like vaporwave into Super Mario was kind of a nice segue too.
I don't know how you can think that's a nice segue. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying how do you it's
Well, I just,
crazy.
yeah, I know. I was
Oh, it was
just
beautiful.
trying
Yeah,
to,
I loved it. I
yeah.
enjoyed it very much, but I'm just thinking of, it was just yeah, but you did, yeah, I love that set.
Thank you. I spent hours like that night before just kind of coming up with the order because
I
I'm
love
not,
that.
I'm definitely someone who has to know the order I want to play and like what I'm going to play. I love DJs who just in spur of the moment do it. But I'm very methodical and I need to have a plan just because I don't want to miss something.
I'm the same way. I mean, obviously, I just do it once in a while. I'll play records for friends back home in Mexico, and I'll be like, I'll spend the whole night like making a list and just thinking about what I want to play next, and I'm very methodical as well. And then when I see my brother is like more of like a spur of the moment,
It's
feeling the crowd guy, and he's really good at it, and I'm like, dude, how do you do that? I always watch him, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's
it's
just different
incredible.
ways. Yes, it's different
It is,
ways.
but it's
Yeah.
also for me, it's a way to then have an archive
Yeah.
everything all the sets I've done. And so
Right.
I can send it to you, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I have Apple and Spotify,
Hmm.
and you can actually look at all the sets I did on Twitch just
Oh,
from
that's cool.
because
Yeah.
I spun vinyl records.
Hmm.
I was
Yeah,
spinning
but you
vinyl
you kept
records.
that as a record. I get
But I
it.
kept that as like an archive just to be able to refer back to old sets and stuff, which is fun. Because I'd be like, oh, I wouldn't play that again together. I'd do something different, because
Yeah.
taste and like also just your ear changes, I think, as you get older too. So but I'm glad
Okay.
you liked the set. I am glad you appreciate it. I wasn't sure if people were gonna really like love
No,
the
I mean, I don't know.
Mario.
I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, it was like, okay, it was a combination of eclectic selection. Also, you hit that. I think it's a sweet spot. It's not really Gen X, but it's not millennial yet, and it's like, sneaker pimps.
That's me, but that's me. I'm like in between millennial and Gen X.
Same, yeah, it's the same for me. That's probably why it resonated so much. I mean, I think we're around the same age, so. So thank you for this time that you spent with us. Leah had to go. She had a class
Yeah.
but I really appreciate this time and I
Great
want
meeting
to
them too. Yeah.
talk to you later about maybe and I had mixed feelings because I know we talked about maybe possibly helping you digitize your work, but at the same time, it's like I feel like I have mixed feelings. Like I like the idea of physical maps, but at the same time, the digital outlet gives you more space to like include a lot of things that you have. But that is a whole other conversation.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm still committed to doing the physical map, so that's not going to change. So
Mhm.
it's more of like people who don't have access to the maps. Also, because I
That's
mean,
true.
this is a personal project. Like no one's funding this project, so like I'm
That's
not.
another conversation that we need to have, I
Yeah,
think.
I know. Yeah, so that's why I feel like down the line having a digital project
Archive.
archive where it's
Yeah.
an interactive map
Yeah.
so that you can experience it both ways. You can, have the physical maps, but then you can also have an interactive online map would be really great. And
Yeah.
because there's so much, as you can see on our website,
No,
my
there's a
website,
lot.
you can
There's a
see
lot.
like all the, like some of the stores. One last thing I did want to mention, because I know you were going to ask me about the one of the challenges of this project,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's finding out how long these stores lasted. So
Mm.
anytime I actually can find an article that mentions the opening and closing dates, or the owner reaches out to me, or the owner's family reaches out to me, and they have the dates, like they opened in 1989 and they closed in 2001, but for majority, I'd say for like 95% of these stores, I don't have opening and closing dates because they don't exist online. It's
Hmm.
hard to, you can try to piece it out from ads or from when they were listed in the yellow pages, but that's not really always a very accurate way to figure that out because sometimes I can't, there are a lot of gaps in years of yellow pages and white pages, right? So I can't find, sometimes it's hard for me to find an LA County yellow pages from 1961 or from 1981. So then there's a gap there. And so it's unclear like that where if they opened in, it's very cumbersome and it definitely is sometimes I think will be impossible to find out how long a store on that map lasted. Unless I have other types of evidence like an article or the family that knows for sure.
Well,
So
you
that's
you can think of it as a record collection, because when you have a record collection and then we're obviously going to pass away and that record collection is going to move on to another generation or another person.
no, it's
Well,
really
this
true.
this challenge of not finding it, your
I
maps are going
know.
to leave
It,
that gap for somebody else to
someone
figure
else.
out if
That's very good. Yeah,
possible.
that's very
Yeah.
true. But it speaks to like my level of detail. I would
Yeah.
love to be
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to tell you, oh yeah, that store was around for 5 years. Some stores, which I know I'll never find,
Uh-huh.
is because they lasted maybe only 3 or 6 months and they didn't have a chance to even be listed in the yellow pages,
Yeah.
pages. Or they were a small record shop behind a cafe that they didn't advertise and they didn't have their own separate address or separate phone number. So we'll never know that like a bookstore or cafe also sold records in the back,
Have you
Like
considered doing a PhD? Because I feel like you could do one just on the stuff that you already have, and it'd be
I
super
know.
interesting and worth a thesis. I know you talked to Josh Kuhn. I saw you had an interview with
Yeah,
him,
he
and
was
I know
very
he's at USC.
encouraging, which
Yeah.
is really nice of him. And people before him and after him have mentioned going back to school for this. So it's the seed has been planted. I don't know what I'll do with it, but it's for me, it's really encouraging just to see people's response like yours and just people far and wide, across generations who really love this project and that fuels my drive to continue to do this. And so in
Yeah.
what capacity in the future, I don't know what that will look like. I think it'd have to be the right type of program, the right type of school, the right timing for me to do this on a more formal basis. But I love I love being able to do this right now. So
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I want to ask one more question and then we could say goodbye. I don't know if
yeah,
you
no,
have.
I'm cool on time. Yeah. Thank
Okay. Yeah, I kind of rushed into the because we usually end them like less than an hour and then Leah left, so but I mean I could go on for a while on this topic easily. What about other cities? Have you explored doing other cities or thought about other cities? Like when I saw this map, I'm
yeah.
like, this would be cool. Like I showed this to a friend that I buy and sell and trade records with in Mexico, and he's like, oh shit, we should do this in Mexico City or in Puebla. It
Good.
would be super interesting. So have you thought about that, like other cities that would be interesting to do? I
I have
mean,
thought about it,
mhm,
and many people have asked me. That's the other question I get asked a lot is like, what's the next city you're going to do, or will you do? I get a lot of OC, San Francisco, New York,
mhm,
London, Chicago, all the big, all the big cities,
yeah.
and I mean, if I had all the time in the world, I would love to do those cities. It would involve me, I think, living in those cities for a long period, for a good period of time, to go to their libraries, to do all the research, and what keeps me from doing another city right now is I'm not done with LA.
I would
I think,
say I would
yeah.
say yes and no to that, that you need to be in
Oh,
a
that I need to be there.
I
Yeah,
feel like I sent you recently like this link about, crowdsourced
right.
research projects, and I think you could crowdsource something like
I
this
could
and
craft.
just
Yeah,
make
you
it
know what? I
expand
could
it.
totally craft. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could. I could craft. I would love to teach someone who is like, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. I
Hmm.
would love to show them what I did and have them run with that. So yeah, so if anyone's watching this or listening to this, like reach out to me and I'm happy to share with you my methodologies and my approaches and my organization because it's also involves so much organization. Once you
Yeah.
find all this, like where does it all go? Like how do you house everything? And so
That's a really good point to make when it comes to doing work like this, like archival work, especially if you want to crowdsource it, is like structure matters. Like the way you structure the data is super important and to make it like shareable and expandable into other cities or even other time periods. So I'm also curious about looking at your data. I do a lot of mapping and a lot of my mapping has to do with data structure, like how is the data structured? And so that's a really
that's
good
a whole other
point.
conversation.
That's
Yeah.
a whole other but it's a really good point that you make where it's not just, hey, let's make a list of things, but there is a methodology and there is a structure to how you're organizing the data. And I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely PhD worthy. Like I would insist.
Thank you. Yeah, and the next map will go further even out into LA County. I mean, there's still so much in the San Gabriel Valley that hasn't been touched. Fernando Valley, South
Orange
Bay.
County, like you said.
Well, no, not Orange County yet, because I'm still just doing LA County.
Okay,
I
I
need I
see.
need parameters because or else I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
do
for
it all
sure.
over
Like
again.
limits, yeah.
But yes, and the map, and there's a lot of stores from the 1920s and 1930s that we just didn't have, we couldn't fit. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but Jeff had an incredible idea
Yeah, the
for
little inset maps.
for downtown LA,
Yeah,
yeah, to have
I
that
saw
inset,
that.
and also Melrose. So uh, I love this idea that he had, and
I, w- I
Jeff has
would
also
s-
helped me figure
I
out how to
would say like my experience with maps and map design and stuff like that. I would say an atlas might be kind of like the one that you
like this.
showed.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly, exactly. And you would focus on like neighborhoods even.
yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. And you would like,
So
that might actually work better. But I mean, we're already getting into methods and stuff like that at this stage, where it's like you're talking about how could you organize so much information.
it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
Yes. And also little
Which I
just
was like, which was part of that question, like why maps? It seems like you could do a book.
people have also said that to me too. Yeah. And I'm just like one thing at a time. But no,
Yeah.
again, but that to me speaks to how much this is resonating with people,
No, of course.
how like devoted they are to this and why they understand the importance of this. Another something I think you would appreciate is there are some stores on here that were on streets that don't exist anymore.
Oh yeah,
Street
that's
names don't
amazing.
exist
That is so
anymore.
cool.
So
Yeah.
Jeff and I worked closely together on figuring out what was that street. Santa Barbara Avenue is now MLK Junior Boulevard.
Oh, that is crazy. That is so
And
cool.
so that's that I love, but those are the types of puzzles I love to solve
Hmm.
because I'm like I will, or the structure of the numbering changed
How
on.
did you solve that? Like, if you find a record store, speaking, getting in deeper into the weeds of this. So let's say you find a record store in the yellow pages, and it's got an address, and you just can't seem to find it. It turns out it's a different, the street was changed.
Yeah.
Have you run into situations like that, and how did you resolve them?
Yeah, I mean, the Santa Barbara one wasn't as hard to solve because a quick Google had a Wikipedia page about the street because of the history of it being named MLK Junior Boulevard. So that mentioned that it used to be known as Santa Barbara Avenue. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense then. But there was a store on, oh my gosh, it was on the first map, that was in South LA, and it was on, let me see if I can remember, I'll look it up as I'm telling you the story. And the numbering had changed. Like the
Hmm.
street name hadn't changed, but the way they laid out the block numbers had changed. And so Jeff and I were trying to figure out, okay, because he needed to know where to plot it on the map. And so I did some digging. This actually did take quite a while to figure out. And here it is. I think I found it. It was on Western Ave, I believe. And but the numbers had changed because when you went to the actual address, it was a house. And I was like, no, no, this doesn't make sense. It wasn't a house. And the houses there look like they had been there since like the 40s. And the store listing was also from the 40s. So I said, no, it had to be in a more business district neighborhood. But how am I going to figure out where on the map it was? So I looked up maps of that area as far back as I could, and I found old oil maps, like Shell
Okay.
Oil,
Where did you find those maps? Was it in a library or what?
online. Somewhere, like
Online.
someone
Okay.
had put them on a database somewhere online.
All right.
I don't know if you've come across those maps. Those
Yes,
are
I have all the time. I'm obsessed with that.
really,
So
that's so
search,
cool.
yeah.
I had never really come across them because I didn't need to when I was doing the initial research, but
Hmm.
for this store, I had to. Was it? Yeah. So I'm still looking at this map here to figure out exactly the name of the store. So, so I found like a newspaper article that mentioned that the store.
And the
Oh no, this
newspaper
is what I did.
article, where did you are like
No,
a
no, this is
PI?
no,
So
this is what I
where
did.
okay.
No, this is what I did. So, like 2 blocks up from this neighborhood, where in current mapping today would say it
Hmm.
was in this neighborhood, and I was like, this record store was not in the house, like for sure.
Hmm.
3 blocks up from this neighborhood is a gas station. It's like a Shell station or something, or like
Hmm.
a Mobile or something. I don't remember, Chevron or something. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna look for the address for this Chevron or for a gas station from the 1940s, when the year that I found, or maybe it was in the 50s. In the 50s, the year that I found this record store, I'm gonna look at that same yellow pages to find the address of that gas station. Because I bet the gas station has been there for decades, right?
Hmm.
So then I was able then to figure out the address of the gas station that existed the same year that record store existed. Let's say it's 1952.
Hmm.
It also had a different numbering. It was same name, same street. I think it was Vermont Avenue, but totally different numbering. So then I was like, okay, well, so this gas station was at 11, let's say it was at 11 in 1952. It was at, this is like this is getting really nerding out on this. So let's
Yeah.
say the gas
That's
station was
cool.
at let's say the gas station was at 9255 South Vermont Street.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, yeah, South Vermont. No, sorry, 9605 South Vermont Street. I compared that then to the current address and said, "Oh, there it's off by like 300."
So there was number changes. They had like
So there were
adjusted
number
the number
changes.
change.
So then I was like, okay, well then based on where the gas station is today, the record store was like a block and a half north of the gas station.
Hmm.
So then I went on Google Map View to look at that address as it is to which has a different number
Right,
now.
you like transpose that location by a number of houses based on the
Yes.
numbering.
So currently it's a public storage. And I'm like, I know this was not public storage in 1950, but
Right.
luckily on Google Maps Street View, as you know, you can go back to 2007.
Hmm.
So then I went all the way back to 2007 when there was no public storage building, and it was a row of small businesses in buildings that looked like they were built in like the 1920s, 1930s maybe.
Hmm.
So then from that address, doing the math, I was able to figure out, oh, the store was in what was a barber shop in 2007. And
Hmm.
this is the address today for that record store, but it's off by like 2 or 300 because of the numbering having changed. But because I could confirm that the gas station existed back in the 50s like it does today, I was able to do some math to then figure out, okay, so then I told Jeff, plot it a block and a half north of this gas station on this side of Vermont because that's based also on just the photos of the old storefronts that were there in 2007. I was like 99.9% sure like the this is where the store was because it
Okay.
matches sort of the anyway. So that's how so it involves some math and it involves some digging. But this is the type of stuff I love to do, and no one is paying me to do this research. It's really just for my love of solving puzzles, but also like documenting this history in LA that has been forgotten. Like we've lost these stores, but we don't want to forget them. We shouldn't
I,
forget
And
stores.
it stems from your own personal experience, which makes it a lot richer. I think that's when like the cool projects emerge, when it comes from like personal experience. So I want to segue to one of your pictures because I'm kind of doing the same thing that you're doing, but obviously at a much lighter level. But
Wow.
one of the prices was Aron's store, and you have a photo of Aron's shop. Is that one of the shops that you would frequent when you were younger? Tell us a little bit about this photo and about Aron Record Shop.
So it's the photo, the black and white photo on
Yeah,
the website.
yeah.
That's the first locate. Aaron's had three locations. They moved two times. So
Hmm.
they had three total locations at different times. So that photo is from the early 70s, I believe, and it's of
Okay.
the very first Aaron's Records, which was on Melrose, close to Fairfax High.
Hmm.
In the 80s, they moved to a bigger space for a little further east on Melrose, and it's now a shoe palace, but it's still
Okay.
the same building. It's now a shoe palace. And I didn't go to that errands because I was too young. I was like 9 years old or, 7. But in the 90s, they moved to Highland. They moved to Highland between Melrose and Santa Monica Boulevard. And that's the errands I used to go to with my friend John all the time. They had great in-stores, they had great used CDs, used records. They had a little parking lot, they were open late. I mean, this is in the days of the 90s where like,
Hmm.
places were like record stores, bookstores were
Or
open
places, yeah.
late.
Yeah. There were places to
Diners
hang
were
out
open
too,
late.
you know. It wasn't all, you would just go out in the streets and just do random stuff. And that was one of the random stuff that you would do, you know.
Let's go to the
Yeah,
record
go to the
store. So
record
yeah,
store.
so Aaron's has a really rich history. There's been a lot written about it, which is I think
Okay.
really amazing and so incredibly important. And and they closed in 2005 because there I found an article where they interviewed the owner of Aron, and he basically just said like once Amoeba opened up in Hollywood it really impacted sales for them. Amoeba coming to LA in 2000 was a real, or 2001 was a really big moment for LA. I remember when Amoeba opened and it replaced people's shopping habits. Like people used to go to Tower and Virgin. I feel like they
Hmm.
shifted to Amoeba. I definitely shifted to Amoeba as well, even though I still went to the smaller record stores that were in the area. But Aaron's is the one record store I have seen many articles written about in the context of Amoeba really being a force to be reckoned with, and Aaron's never fully, I couldn't ever, never recovered from the sort of economic impact that that Amoeba had. Someone did send me, and I need to post this on Instagram. Someone did send me because he kept a lot of, he's like our age too, and he kept a lot of stuff as well, like just flyers and newspapers and clippings and stuff. And he was like, "Do you remember?" And I said, "I kind of do, but I didn't keep it." Amoeba, around the time that they opened, maybe a year or two into their opening, published a pamphlet, like a flyer, listing all of the independent record stores and bookstores in LA. And they put it like at the counter, so when you were buying something, you can also take this flyer. It was like a half-folded flyer with like dozens and dozens of stores, and it was their way to try to promote other stores so that they weren't the only ones people were going to. So he
Hmm.
scanned it for me, and I need to post it because I think it is also just such an interesting piece of history of like the tension between record stores back in like the early 2000s when people were doing Napster and LimeWire and all that stuff. But
Hmm.
also, this is also when record stores started to close in droves. Like people, like stores were not, record stores were really not surviving. And I just thought it was it's such a, I appreciate the effort that Amoeba was doing to try to promote some of these smaller stores. Aaron's is obviously on that list. But with trends and with listening habits changing and with the convenience of just having one big store, I think that really did shift a lot of things. I don't blame Amoeba. Obviously, I don't think they came in trying to like take away business from everybody, but
Hmm.
it is, I think, I don't know how much that's been studied, like Amoeba's impact on record stores. All I have found are articles written when places like Aaron's closed because people loved Aaron's, and that was a huge moment in the city of LA for record stores. When Aaron's closed, it felt like, oh, we're like this is like the downfall of record stores in LA.
Right.
Because once Aaron's
That
gone, like everything's gonna be gone, kind of
That's
thing.
actually something that I'm like super interested in. Not in record stores though, but in food outlets. Like I'm interested in
Mm,
how when you have these big retail stores opening and everywhere, that's kind of my research space, where you have these big food outlets and how they control space and they kind of usually
mhm.
lock out or close or push out a lot of the small independent food outlets. And that's actually what I'm studying right now. So it's interesting to see that same phenomenon, but in record stores. It makes me think about methods and stuff like that for my own research. But
Yeah, totally. I'm happy to send you the links to the Aaron's,
yeah, yeah, we
the rise and
definitely
fall of Aaron's. It's really sad. It was
yeah.
really sad. But yeah, so going back to Aaron's though, like I have a lot of fond memories. I've actually found a receipt of like two CDs I bought at Aaron's in 2001 that I scanned because I didn't want to lose it. And I still have
Hmm.
the receipt and I still have the CDs that I bought
No.
that day. I just
Oh,
like,
are you serious?
oh, I still do. It was a Bikini Kill record on CD and a Le Tigre EP I bought on CD. And it says the
What
date,
year was that?
February 8, 2001. Huh?
Okay. That what year? 2001. You just I was about to
It
yeah, I
was
was
February
yeah.
2001. And I went with my friend John. And so for some reason, like that's the other thing. I've held on to a lot of things. And so I have
Hmm.
like my own personal archives of like ticket stubs, concert flyers, concert
Right.
photos,
Right.
magazines, zines, LA weeklies I've kept, clippings, all that stuff. And so it was in a pile of like my ticket stubs. And I was like, oh my God, I can't, like, I love seeing this, like, remember the old receipts? It wasn't computer, it was like Scantron kind of like
Right, right, right.
would come out
Well,
that way.
I feel like that I feel like that's where you could actually crowdsource this because I am pretty sure you're not the only one who did
Oh, who
that. In
kept like
my
all the
case,
stuff?
yeah.
No, I
I think
know.
if
It's
you,
true.
and that's a way you could definitely think about crowdsourcing this.
I
Um,
think, yeah, thank you. I really, yeah.
yeah.
If you come
So,
across anything you think is cool for the archive, just send it my way too. Like, anything you.
yeah, I mean, I don't think I will. I mean, I definitely will, but I think I think if anything, I could help you digitize this stuff. I don't think I
Well,
could.
that'll be a whole other thing. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's a whole other conversation that we need to have, but It was a pleasure. I really
Yeah, thank
enjoyed
you again
sharing
for reaching
you
out.
sharing these stories with us, and good luck. And again, I am happy to collaborate and help you in whatever I can.